it seems like a relatively like normal family situation, but it was kind of in well, no, his brother pulled a gun on him. I forgot about that.
This is Whose Creek Is It?
The podcast where two sisters recap and pontificate about the show Dawson's Creek.
I'm Miranda, and I've seen the whole series at least 5 times.
And I'm Allison, and I'm watching this show for the very first time. Let's get started.
Season 1, Episode 12, titled Beauty Contest. It came out May 12th, 1998. The director was Arvin Brown, and the writer was Dana Barada, which we've had before. So that's cool.
And burrata is a kind of like cheese from Italy.
Yeah, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. I could be pronouncing it totally incorrect.
If it's pronounced by the cheese, you're doing like the cheese. You're doing great.
Cool. Some things finally happened.
Yeah, some things did happen. I'm trying to remember what happened last episode. Last episode was the scare. Oh,
It was like a throwaway episode.
yeah, it was like the episode, it was episode 11, but it was probably supposed to be episode 10, and there was a crazy lady they met at the liquor store, and this episode is much more like regular going to school things.
Yeah. So we open to a video of two ladybugs effing each other.
Is it lady? I don't remember. I thought it was praying mantises. Maybe it was a series of
It did
bugs.
go to praying mantises after, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, great. Yeah, basically bug porn.
Yes. And Joey is there with Dawson in his bedroom, wondering why he's watching this. And I could not tell if he was joking or not that it was for biology class.
Yeah, kind of hard to tell. He said basically it was for like some biology paper or something, and I was like, I'm not sure. Maybe. I don't know. But they get into a discussion of like, why would you choose that bug over the other bug? The bugs look the same to me.
Mhm. Which Joey's like, instinct.
Yeah, and then they get into this whole discussion of like, is attraction based on what you're socially conditioned to be attracted to, or is it based on what you are like inherently biologically or instinctually attracted to?
Mhm. Yeah, you stated that a lot better than I would have. I was just going to say they argue about, well, Joey's being really pessimistic and cynical about like the media deciding who's this month's perfect specimen, and then she talks about the era in which they are in where women were expected to be like paper thin, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also kind of saying it in a derogatory sense, it feels like, of like, I don't know, I it's hard to say.
She's still, yeah, it's she's commenting on how women are objectified and like ranked by society, but she's also doing it. There is an underlying tenor of like putting down other women, namely Jen. Um, yeah, and Dawson's like, no, it's like I don't need anybody to tell me what attractive is, and like, I mean, it's an interesting concept because I mean, just in our lifetime, we've seen it. I mean, we've seen, when we were kids, it was this like heroin chic, like you can't be thin enough. And then, by college, it was like, yeah, you should be thin, but you should have like a giant ass. Um, and then it's, kind of evolved. And now we're swinging back because conservatism.
Hmm. So I guess that's mostly the end of the discussion in the bedroom. They kind of leave on a negative disagreement.
Yeah, and it was another sort of thing where Joey's like, just like, ugh, I like this guy and I see no way out of this. Sort of this subtext about what she thinks has motivated Dawson's interest in Jen, and like what about her interest in Dawson. And it did get me thinking about how, I mean, that's the trouble. I mean, there's so many problems with apps, but like you just don't, guys I have been attracted to, it has not been like, if I looked at their like resume of like what they would put on an app, I maybe wouldn't have picked them out of a lineup, but like you meet them and it's just that's, I don't know. I can't talk myself into it. I have to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we got to go back into the wild.
That's where women get killed.
I mean, they get killed on the apps too. You just have to be lured out into the wild first.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know, man.
But at least there's like documentation, I guess. I don't know.
Yep. Ladies, young women, all people who are worried about being murdered, just like let someone know where you are.
Yeah.
I have never been one. I don't want to turn on the location sharing. That's a little too much for me. But like if you're going on a first date with someone, tell someone where you're going.
Yeah.
It was a relatively quick opening. It was just like sex. Why are the bugs attracted to the bugs? Joey's
Mhm.
pessimistic.
Yep, they're like, that's basically what this whole episode's about, so
Mm-hmm.
that's all we got.
Yep.
Okay, so next we're at Joey's restaurant that she sounds like she owns it. I guess her sister owns it, or they work there. Still not totally clear. Never really becomes super clear. Um, but we see the gang being Dawson, Jen, and Pacey and Joey while she's working, talking about Windjammer Days and that Dawson's mom is going to be part of the judging for this Windjammer Days. Uh, and it's at the yacht club.
As you do at the yacht club.
Yeah, and it's revealed that it's like a beauty pageant for teenage girls.
Mm-hmm.
And Joey, I don't know, just thinks it's like selling out and selling yourself and like not worth someone's time and it's degrading and stuff, which I mean, yeah, it can be. Um,
Mm.
and then we get to hear that Jen's mom used to put her in like little kiddie pageants. So that's kind of interesting in terms of like Jen's background, I guess.
Yeah, because
In
we've never met her parents.
mm-mm. We will eventually one day.
Mm.
um Oh, and then they also say that the winner of this beauty pageant gets 5 grand and a trip to New York, which I'm like, is a trip to New York that great? Like, I don't know how far they are away exactly, but maybe like an hour or two by train.
Yeah, you can do a day trip to New York from where they are, I think. Like I think it's more than an hour of travel, but like it's doable. Dawson said, "Well, Jen should do it cuz like you're obviously attractive." And I was like, that was a weird thing to say. That was an awkward thing to say to your ex in this small group setting, Dawson.
Mhm. Yeah, and both the girls leave, and that's when Pacey kind of acknowledges that Dawson's being weird and
Mhm.
kind of giving her like backhanded compliments and just being creepy. Um,
Mhm.
and to which Dawson said something along the lines of like, winning her back has turned into like a bizarre hobby. And I'm like, that bad.
It is bad. It did remind me of somehow like you find yourself like in a groove of doing something, like maybe you do it one time cuz you want to and then someone notices it and you do it again like kind of for the bit and then it becomes a thing and you're like I don't know why I'm doing this anymore. It's just part of the dynamic now, I guess. I don't know. But yeah. And then Joey and Jen, is this when y- Joey's like, "Oh, tips are terrible."
Yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
and Jen's yeah, and that was the point. This comes up so often. Like 90% of American teen media hinges on the inaccessibility of higher education.
Yeah.
So many teen movies and shows, like major plots don't exist if college were affordable. Like the one that's
Yeah.
coming to mind right now is Varsity Blues. The like half of that is about him like getting a scholarship to college and then Joey has to be perfect so she can get a scholarship to college. So much like teen media is about this and it just makes me wonder. I guess they must have shows and movies about other things in other countries where they make education more accessible.
I do wonder if it's like maybe different now with teen shows, even just a little bit, because like it's starting to become clear that like college isn't the answer or the only answer anymore. Yeah, in our time it was like granted, it was probably also due to how we were raised, but it's like, oh, well, you either go to college or you do nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Ours was the generation that found out, oh no, college guarantees you nothing. It guarantees you nothing in America, except maybe debt. That being said, I'm very glad I went. I'm glad there are a lot of great things about it, but there are other outlets as well, and we just shouldn't make it that hard to do. But
Yeah.
I agree. It's interesting. Like I have a friend who works with like high school age kids, and I'm just like, yeah, what is that? It's just so clear that the promise will never be like delivered. Like kids know by now.
Mm.
Like there are kids graduating with computer science degrees and they can't find jobs, and it's
What are we even doing?
learn a trade, join a union, kids.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about going back to college, not because I think it'll improve my life financially or career-wise in any way, just because it's like, I want the benefits of what a lot of other countries have, which is like living in a walkable city and getting to hang
Yeah.
out with people my age and
Mhm.
having like affordable places to go because you're in a college town. Like,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. For people outside of America, colleges and universities are kind of like where American young adults can get this brief experience of living in a walkable, affordable place. They're not all affordable, but it's generally they're just like they're communities that are set up to be more walkable and communal and with like community engagement events before you all move into your little boxes and drive in your box cars to go sit in your box at work and be alone.
so many boxes.
Yeah, that's a George Carlin bit. But but no, I agree with you of like I don't know that going to graduate school would do anything for me financially or even do anything for my career, but like I'm sure it has plenty of drawbacks, but it seems pleasant compared to this.
Mhm. Yeah, and one last thing I want to say is like it is interesting how so many storylines are geared around kids feeling pressure about going to college, whether it's getting in or being able to afford it or both, or like getting into the wrong college that their parents don't approve of or whatever. Um, but it's I don't know, it feels kind of like fairy tale stories of like, and then magically they were saved by getting accepted to this college, or then magically they were saved because they got this scholarship. And it's like, what is that we're just hoping like good things will happen to us by chance?
Well, we want to believe that good things happen to good people and that good things happen when you work hard, and we're increasingly not seeing that in the real world. So we kind of have to cling to it in our stories.
Yeah, so back to what's happening in the show. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so Joey's talking to Jen about not making much in tips and that she's worried she's like never going to be able to afford college. And Jen's consoling her of like, oh, well, you'll get a scholarship. And Joey's just being very defeatist of like, well, even if I get a scholarship, I'll probably still not be able to afford it. And, all the things that kids worry about.
Yeah.
And, Jen's like, okay, well, I'm trying to make you feel better.
That is really
And
frustrating when you're like around someone who just needs to continue digging the hole. It's just like, what are you getting out of this?
yeah, the spiraling does not help. But yeah, that scene is basically like Jen is trying to bury the hatchet with Joey of like, hey, so now that both of us are single and neither of us are dating Dawson, maybe we could be friends.
Yeah.
To which Joey is like, I don't know. And then she's like, well, as long as we don't have to like paint each other's nails.
Mhm.
Next, we're at school and Pacey's at his locker. Uh, and Dawson comes up to him. Pacey seems kind of like all over the place, I guess, and is talking about how his dad was like ripping on him that morning about not doing well in school and ditching it to go to Providence and stealing the family car.
Yeah, and I was like Yeah, all of these are kind of legitimate criticisms, but it does sound like it sounds like Pacey's home life sucks. But the way it was delivered, I was like, yeah, these are all things that you did that you shouldn't have done.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it is strange though. Dawson's like, "You could stay with me for a while," and I'm like, "Okay, I guess no need to ask the parents."
Yeah, I think that's not that uncommon. I think my boss, like her daughter's best friend was staying with them for a while. I think it happens, and then yeah, it doesn't seem like Dawson has a ton of oversight at home either.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. My cat has made an appearance, everyone.
So yeah, it seems like all the things Pacey's dad is mad about are justified, but then he claims that his dad said like, he'd be happy to be rid of me like as soon as like I'm an emancipated minor, he'd be happy to sign. To which Dawson
Yeah.
just kind of looks at him like, "Huh."
Dawson's like, oh, that's the vibe. Because sometimes you're not sure if something is like normal complaining, and then they drop like a detail that's like, oh no, we're serious. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is kind of maybe I imagine we'll see more of it, but like we're almost to the end of the season and we have no like sort of direct experience with Pacey's home life. The most we have is him like seeing Doug. We're just going off what Pacey says, and by like a lot of by outward appearances and like what I'm seeing in the show, he seems like it seems like a relatively like normal family situation, but it was kind of in well, no, his brother pulled a gun on him. I forgot about that. Um
It's easy to forget.
Yeah, I think there's our cold open. Yeah, so I don't know, but that's often how it is with in like really toxic or abusive situations. It's like, is this seems pretty normal? This seems pretty like run of the mill thing, and then there's like a couple things that you're just like, ooh, no.
Yeah. Dawson's like, "Oh, I'm out of my wheelhouse on this. I don't know how to respond to that." So anyway, this discussion starts because Pacey is saying he's like starting to look at places to live by himself and that he's like found a studio for $250 a month, which, okay.
Yeah, just size and millennial.
I mean, it is a studio, and Dawson makes a comment about it probably being a dump, but maybe it's a dump by Cape Side standards, which is not a dump. I don't know.
Yeah, you can't find a dump where I live for under $1,400, like the dumpiest dump.
Like a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah. And is that when the $5,000 prize comes up again?
Yeah. Pacey is starting to think about that pageant like, "Oh, $5,000 would get me quite a few months' rent."
It would be a full
Um,
year's rent.
yeah, but, assuming I'm getting too realistic about it, but assuming he's gonna have to start paying for his own groceries and stuff
Yeah.
still. Um, yeah, and then he also says, "Oh, that would be a great way to, like, piss off my dad."
Which, like, if your dad is basically telling you to get out, like, yeah, might as well piss him off on the way out.
Yeah. So, next we're in line at the cafeteria with Joey and Jen. And Jen's complimenting Joey about how beautiful she is and says, like, "Oh, I think you should be in the pageant. Like, you should try to do that. Why not?" And Joey kind of shrugs away at the compliment of her being beautiful, to which, like, she says, like, I know I'm not pretty. I'm like, girl.
Or your Katie Holmes, like, but this is, a common thing in TV and movies where we have to like we all have to go along with the conceit of this person isn't either this person isn't pretty in this world, or that this person has like no one can see how pretty they are. And I think that's
Yeah.
the idea with Joey, is that her family is so like infamous, uh and everybody knows everybody, that I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Joey's very uncomfortable.
And Jen admits that, when she was dating Dawson, she was always worried that like Dawson would suddenly realize how beautiful she was and would leave Jen.
It's difficult to gauge and talk about one's own attractiveness.
Yeah. Like, well, you are probably one of the most famous teen actresses in this year. So,
Yeah.
and this was before they were, hiring people who looked all different types of ways for shows.
Yeah, your choice was either blonde or brunette, both of them very white, very petite. Your choice is petite white blonde, petite white brunette.
Yeah. So anyway, Jen kind of talks her into going to the pageant and trying to win it. And Jen says that she'll train her since, she has so much experience from her kitty pageants, which I feel like would maybe be a bit different, but maybe not.
Yeah.
So before we move on from that scene, while they're having this conversation, behind them is a giant poster that says vocabulary, read stuff.
You know what? Sometimes you gotta, as a person who's worked in marketing, sometimes you just gotta get right to the point. Read stuff.
Okay, so next we are at the yacht club with a line of people trying to sign up for this beauty pageant. And at the front of the line is Pacey arguing with the organizers of this pageant that he can technically be a contestant.
It's kind of funny to think of it now that you wouldn't. It feels like, well, we definitely feels like we're going backwards in America, but it did feel like we were sort of at a point where now anyone would like at least entertain the possibility or question like, oh, something that I think of as completely gendered. Inevitably there will be someone who sort of exists outside of my assumption. Or at
Mhm.
least I as a woke liberal would think that, but why would a boy be in a pageant? And I was like, you've never seen Toddlers and Tiaras because every fourth episode there's a boy.
I was thinking about how when we were in high school, I assume they had it when you were there too. They had this thing called Mr. Puma, and it was like people voted, I guess, on who was like we didn't. I don't think we had class presidents or anything, so they were just like, let's have a popularity contest, and when that person wins, it's called Mr. Puma, and I was like, where's Mrs. Puma? Where's like they them Puma?
For listeners, the puma was our mascot in high school. It's like a wild like a mountain lion. Um, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, we did have student government, so we did have like class presidents, and I'm pretty sure we had homecoming. I assume we had homecoming court.
We did have
So
that, yeah.
yeah, so Mr. Puma, I guess, was just a whole other thing. We probably had a prom king situation. I don't know. Clearly, Miranda and I took full advantage of the high school experience. I had forgotten that, but I very much believe that it's real.
Yeah. Well, I forgot that we had student government. I'm like, I don't remember voting.
Yeah, it was also the kind of thing where everyone was just trying to load up a resume for college applications.
Okay. So, anyway, Pacey is arguing with these organizers, and Dawson's backing him up, saying, like, oh, this is so admirable. And, like, he's also thinking of himself, like, this is going to be great for my story. Oh, because we forgot to mention, he's doing, like, a little story that's going to be on the news about the pageant, which I'm like, that is some small town stuff that they're just like, yeah, kid, grab our expensive cameras. Here's our crew because they later we do it does reveal that he had like two crew people with.
That's called small town nepotism. Yeah, because he's not just any kid in Cape Side. He's the lead anchor's kid.
Who cheated with the other lead anchor.
Yep.
So Joey and Jen are there waiting in line to sign up, and Dawson immediately assumes that it's Jen that's signing up for the pageant. And then when he realizes that it's Joey, he's like shook. He's like Just
He's like, "What?"
what?
Just like think for 1 second about your friend Joey. And if this isn't an obvious joke, then maybe this is something she feels insecure and uncomfortable with, and you could just be cool.
Yeah. But she starts feeling really defensive with him and just like annoyed. And she's like, I did like the line of, um, like, well, if a D student with a Julius Caesar haircut can do it, why can't I?
Yeah. Yep. I mean, in the workplace, that's what you remind yourself is that you're surrounded by people who are less competent than you that get paid more than you. So, I mean, you work for a very small business, so not necessarily, but like I work for a large business, and that is absolutely true.
Yeah, no, I've had jobs that's absolutely true. What you're paid is meaningless. There's no
Yeah, like I worked at like what I took away from one of the startups I worked at was that like, oh, someone gave these two idiots, the founders, $18 million. Everyone should follow their dreams because these guys don't know anything. So yeah, if Pacey can do it, so can you, Joey.
Yeah. But yeah, she starts explaining to Dawson because Dawson's just like dumbfounded and is like, I don't know why you're doing this. And she's embarrassed about the fact that she's having to explain to him, like, I need money for college. And sometimes money is worth more than your pride.
You know, Dawson is not sparing a thought for how he's going to pay for film school. It's not even
Yeah.
on his radar.
Yeah. So they're not in a good space. And then we next see Pacey in some auditorium kind of room with a bunch of women who are also in the beauty pageant. And clearly, everyone else is like not thrilled that he's there. We do meet a girl named Hannah who clearly doesn't like Pacey. Pacey doesn't like her. She seems to come from a really privileged background.
Yeah, it sounds like
And
they've known each other, but she went away to boarding school, fancy rich kid boarding school, and now she's back because, like, of course she comes back for the yacht club event or something.
mhm. I don't know how many out of the country listeners we have, but like I know in some other countries boarding school is not that wild, but like here, if you're going to boarding school, you're paying a lot of money for that.
If you send a child to boarding school in the United States, you're rich. You're not like doing pretty well. You're rich.
Hmm. Because it's basically like paying for college every year that they go to school.
Yeah, some of them are more expensive than college because, they require more staff to oversee all the children and it's wild. Um so yeah, she very rich. What's her name? Hannah?
Yeah. Anyway, so we then get to see Jen training Joey to walk in heels at Jen's place. And Joey apparently has never stepped in heels her whole life.
I mean, to be fair, every time I put on heels, it's like the first time.
It is. Yeah, I know.
Every time.
I hardly ever wear heels, and I'm like, "Look, I got less than an hour that these can be on my feet before I cannot be in them anymore."
Yeah, we have an hour. Let's take pictures.
That's actually what happened for my prom is honestly, they weren't even high heels, they were wedges. So they're kind of even cheating because it distributes the weight a little more.
Yeah.
Um, and I wore them for the photos. I wore them in the car, to the prom. We stopped at a restaurant before we went to the prom. I took them off at the restaurant.
Most people take them off at prom.
Yeah. And I fully brought, like, those little, like, shoes that you can, like, fold up in a purse, fully knowing I was not gonna stay in those shoes all night.
Oh.
Yeah, she's being trained on how to walk in heels.
Naturally, she has a book on her head because this is a TV show and that's what you do.
Mhm. I mean, it is kinda true because that I think that makes you focus on your core, like,
Mm.
somehow, and that's a lot of it is just, like, tensing your core so you don't fall over.
I'm just so worried about my ankles.
So while they're prepping for this pageant, Pacey is at Dawson's house with Dawson and his dad being Mitch, not Pacey's dad.
Yeah. This is Mitch's one appearance in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, him and Gail get like brief appearances in this episode.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, his parents are still around. Pacey's trying to figure out like what his talent will be, what he's gonna wear. He does not appear to really have a talent, although he was singing, and it was like Frank Sinatra, I think, and I was like, it's not bad.
It wasn't awful. It wasn't awful. It was just it was kind of bold. He was very confidently singing a cappella. And, with that kind of style of like Frank Sinatra song, it's like it's lilting, but it veers in the direction of talk singing, which is a little more accessible.
But once again, I think Dawson mentions about like, oh, you're gonna be like an idol, like you're changing things, like trendsetter, whatever. And Pacey looks at him like, I just want the money.
Yeah.
Then we also get to see a discussion between Joey and Jen, creepily looking at Dawson's house through the window, talking to each other like, "Well, you're not into him, right?" "Well, no, but not really. What's your situation? Not that I really care."
Yeah, that is what the conversation was. Like, so yeah, there's kind of nothing going on with us. Is there anything going on with you? No, no, definitely not. No, nope, nothing, never. And as they both stare longingly.
Yeah, and Jen says something like, "Oh, he'll be around," which kind of gets to it later where she just assumed he would be around whenever she wanted him back if she wanted him back.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even in the breakup when she's like, "I'll probably come crawling back to you," and that kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it does present that you have the assumption that someone will just be sticking around there.
Okay. So, Casey then talks to Dawson about Joey being in the pageant and how Dawson's reacting to that. And Pacey's like, oh, well, this is clearly because, like, I don't know, you guys have some weird relationship. And Dawson says, I've never thought of her in a romantic context. And I'm like, how many times have you said that in different ways?
Yeah.
Dawson says that he sees her like a sister and it would be incestuous. Pacey says, you don't want her, but you don't want anyone else to have her either.
Yeah, harkening back to a couple episodes ago when he was like, "Can I make a move on her?" And then Dawson's like, "Yeah, it's fine." No, 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 don't. It's like, I'm sorry if you don't feel that way about her, then you wouldn't be saying no, don't make any kind of move.
So everybody's denying their feelings. Um,
Mhm.
and then we are back at the pageant area where, back at the yacht club, I guess would be a better term, but Dawson is interviewing contestants for the news.
Or something, or like it's like to give a preview to the judges or something.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
And Casey runs into Hannah again. Hannah's giving him a hard time, and he's like, even if I don't win, if I just take one vote away from you, that'll be great.
And this is the conversation where it's kind of dropped that Pacey had like asked her out in, I want to say, 6th grade, and she stood him up.
And I'm like, oh, now I get the flirting. So, Joey finds out she's gonna have to do this interview with Dawson. She's not thrilled about it, but she does it anyway. And Dawson's kind of asking her just like basic questions that he'd ask any of the contestants. And he says, "Oh, like who's your role model?" And she's like, "Oh, I don't really have a role model. I mostly just have to depend it on myself."
Yep.
Yeah, this whole scene is just like Dawson asking dumb questions and Joey like almost trying to hurt his feelings, but also being very honest and like, well, this is how it is.
Yeah, and it's like, Joey, I mean, this is something I had to learn the hard way in like professional context is like you can't just answer questions honestly because that's not what people want.
So Dawson also asks her like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, which is the worst question. But she basically says far away from here.
Yeah. In
And
Antarctica, in Tunisia, anywhere.
yeah. And Dawson apparently doesn't know his friend at all because he's surprised by this. And he's like, but what about your friends and your family? And she's like, things change.
Yeah, yeah, and Joey kind of goes on this little rant about just kind of her point of view on life is that you just have so little control and that bad things happen and like not gonna lie, it kind of resonated that feeling of like yeah, bad things happen and you can't control things and like you gotta just roll with the punches because the punches aren't gonna stop coming.
Yeah, you can't stop your life in the hopes that everything will just stay the same.
Yeah, but in the same moment that I was like identifying with it, I was like, this is also a sad way to go through life.
So Dawson's kind of woken up to she might not be around forever.
Mm.
And okay, so now it's before the pageant show, and Jen is getting Joey all set to go. And Jen's like, "Oh, make sure you put this on your teeth." And I think it was Vaseline, right?
Hmm.
Um, which is a thing, I guess. You would know better than I with toddlers and tiaras.
Oh, I was like, why would I know that? In toddlers and tiaras, they wear a lot of them wear fake teeth called flippers. But
Oh, yeah.
I feel like I've heard the Vaseline thing in like TV shows before that it has something to do with like making you smile or making your smile look more like natural or something.
Yeah, and Joey's like, "I have to smile?"
Yeah, it was like, yeah, Joey, you have to answer questions in which you're not supposed to tell the truth and you have to smile. Get used to it. This is a job interview.
And at the same time, Pacey's getting ready in a closet, because he can't be with the women. Um,
Hmm. Yeah.
and Dawson comes in to kinda, like, chat him up and, I don't know, get him ready, and he gives, Pacey a thing of Vaseline. He's like, "Here, my mom says you need this," and neither of them know what it's for.
Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I don't know what it's for.
The show starts and girls start walking out and we kind of see a montage of it, and I noticed that like all of them are wearing blue, which I don't know why that would really matter, but when Joey steps on, she's wearing like a darker, I don't even know what it is, like a brown color to bring out her eyes and hair, I guess.
I did not notice.
I didn't notice previously either, but I was like, oh, maybe they were trying to make her stand out more? I don't know. But anyway, Joey, steps out on stage and, she's got her hair did, her face did, wearing a
Hmm.
beautiful dress, and Dawson, when he sees her, like, his eyes pop out of his head.
Which is funny because I didn't think she looked that different. Like her hair was up and she was wearing a dress.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they kind of alluded to it with Joey saying, "Oh, he's always gonna see me as his, like, friend with the pigtails and dirt on her knees," or whatever, like,
Yeah.
so maybe it is like, "Oh, wow, my friend is, like, turning into a woman." I don't know.
Is this the part the montage with music?
No, that's a
Okay.
little later, but it is
Okay.
great. I was gonna bring up that while this is happening, PC is like behind the curtain talking to Jen and is like, "Oh, did the fairy godmother do a little too well?"
Well, yeah, and then I was like, "Well, what is your goal then, Pacey? Because you seem
No.
like you want Dawson to go be with Joey. Then why are you toying with Jen? Is it just because you feel like you have no control over your own life? Because this seems counterproductive."
Yeah, I know. I'm like, Since when do you have a problem with Jen?"
He's the Puck character in A Midsummer Night's Dream, just like chaos and confusing people.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's also I mean, I don't think he really got that into Joey, but it is like, oh, well, if you guys were still together, like, he maybe would have been more okay with me trying to date her, but I don't know.
Maybe. Also, just Pacey likes to start shit.
Yeah, he likes stirring the pot. So, Yeah, he's like, "Oh, are you feeling Dumper's remorse, and are you upset that he's interested in someone else?" And she's like, "You think I'm that shallow?" He's like, "No, I think you're that human."
This seems like a level of depth I'm not sure Pacey has, but okay.
So yeah, Pacey goes out on stage. He's being really like, "Hey," like finger guns, kind of like.
Yeah, he's just being confident and charming, which is really what a lot of that, like, the modeling part of pageantry is just be confident and make people like you.
Then we go into the montage.
Ska! Exclamation point. But most importantly, ska! Exclamation point, a song that was in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yes, called Superman.
I didn't have a saving cartridge or whatever, so I had to always start the game at the beginning, so I saw the same levels and the same few songs over and over and over again, and that was one of them.
Oh, I didn't know that that was why the game got monotonous after a while. We needed a storage card.
Yeah. Yeah, we needed some kind of like save thing. You couldn't save your game without the storage plug-in thing or something. So we always started from the beginning.
Because we couldn't be bothered to ask mom and dad.
Yeah, I don't know why
We're
we
just
didn't.
like, "We'll do with whatever we have."
Yeah, basically. We were just like, well, I guess this is what we have. And it just didn't occur to us to say like, "Hey, this is a solvable problem, mom and dad, can you help?" We were just like, "Okay, I guess that's how it is."
Yeah, so there's this montage of people doing weird talents, like singing and playing piano, and someone was doing, like, carnival what not trapeze, contortionist things, I
Ah.
think.
Mhm.
And then they go through, like, people answering the, like, question where, it's like, "If you could save the world by saying one word, what would it be?" Or some questions, and I
Mhm.
guess Pacey gets asked, like, how he would prevent war, and he's like, "Well, I tried to talk reasonably, but, if that didn't work, I just tell him I had dirty photos of them."
Mm.
And I'm like, "This is acting like The Simpsons, man."
Yeah, yeah. And he's yeah, it's just this is a prime example of like whatever you if you say something with confidence, people will roll with it. And this is why Pacey will be extremely successful in the corporate and business world, and Joey will struggle more because he will
Yeah.
just say stuff to keep things going, and he'll say it in a way that people like, even
Mhm.
though it's not actually productive in any way.
Yeah, but people seem to be enjoying him being on stage, which I find a little surprising. I'm like, "These are not the kind of people that I think would be into this," but, whatever. They're liking it, and,
I think it's just
uh
the novelty for them. They're like, "Oh, we go to this stupid thing every year. Now it's different. There's a boy."
it's
And
actually
we're all in
interesting.
and yeah, and we're all in on the joke that this is like a gimmick.
Yeah, which brings it to Pacey passes by Gail, who says, "Oh, you're doing a great job. You don't have a chance of winning, but you're doing a great job."
Mhm. And Pacey was real close up and touchy with Gale.
I didn't really notice that, but yeah, no, that sounds right.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's like surprised. He's like, "Wait, I don't have a chance at winning?" It's like, "No."
I mean,
Anyway,
that's kind of a naive like it's the naive optimism of like reminding someone that no, this isn't how the world works.
yeah. There's a lot of that I think when you're a teenager of like, "Oh, well, I'll show them. I'll do this thing." And then it's like, "Why did I think that would work?" I don't.
Yeah, why did I think working hard and doing everything I was told would lead to the outcomes I was promised?
Yeah. So, we finally get to Joey's portion of the talent show,
Yeah.
and she comes out and she sings "La Miserable." Is that how you pronounce that, or did I say that bad?
It is a song from the musical Les
Yes.
Miserables.
Okay, there you go.
I have not seen this musical or heard this song before, but I was just like, "Oh, Joey's gonna sing?" It has never been brought up before that Joey might sing. She's oh, this is a long scene of singing, and
Yeah.
it's not bad.
Yeah, no, I thought maybe it wasn't her voice, but IMDb said it was, but who knows?
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna ask, I don't know. I was like, "Is she actually singing?" And it went on a long time, and it's so hard to say how that would land because, like, on TV, the singing itself was fine, but not that impressive, but maybe in person, in a room full of people, it just depends. Like, it's so hard to say how that performance would land.
Mhm.
It was, like, weirdly realistic that, like, yeah, a not trained singer at a small pageant in a small town. It was like weirdly realistic and it was surreal because it went on a long time.
Yeah, and she kinda goes back and forth between being very genuine and then also at times looking like she's bored.
Yeah, she goes back. She will like get into it and be feeling the music, and then she'll like remember she's on stage or remember herself or who she thinks she is, and yeah, so she kind of goes in and out.
Yeah. And while she's doing this, she, like, glances at Dawson, like, twice he's behind the curtain with Jen, and I think he also compliments Jen on, like, what a great job she's done.
Hmm.
But yeah, Joey, like, made eye contact with him twice, and I'm like, "Girl, stop."
Or girl, go one or the other. I'm not sure.
Don't make Jen just stand there feeling bad.
Ah,
I don't know. But anyway, the song was very on the nose.
yeah, it was like I love him, but I'm alone. He doesn't love me.
So I have to just be dependent and
Just I am alone. But
Yep.
at least Joey isn't starving in revolutionary France.
Yeah, Pacey has, like, a brief moment where he's mad at Dawson because he's like, "You didn't tell me that I didn't have a chance of winning this."
And it's like I don't know, maybe that hadn't occurred to Dawson. You didn't really generally you didn't like directly ask him, "Why is this you're just upset." And then we need to talk about Pacey's act.
Okay, well, first he was gonna be a magician, and then he said, "Screw it, I'm gonna put paint on my face and do a weird dramatic interpretation."
In the like dressing room or closet thing that he's getting ready in, he's like, "No, I'm not going to do the magic. I'm going to go out there and tell them how much they suck." Like he's really going to show them. And I'm like, "Okay." And then he did what you said. He put on the face paint of Braveheart of the Scottish warrior William Wallace as portrayed by Mel Gibson in that movie Braveheart, and he's giving this like Scottish accent that veers into other places as well, but it's an accent. And I just don't know how we got there.
It is strange because I think it kind of is once again like, "Oh, I'll show them, I'll be ridiculous on stage," and it's like, they already thought you were being ridiculous on stage.
Yeah, I just we didn't go from A to B to C. We went from like A to D, and I just needed B or C so I could arrive at D. I don't know how we got from I'm gonna show them to William Wallace face paint giving kind of a monologue and saying he can't be judged, but not really being that direct about it.
Mhm.
It was very confusing. All they had to do was like maybe they if they had just planted that like he had seen the movie Braveheart recently.
Yeah.
Like even that would have been enough to be like, "Okay." But there was just no connection and I was so confused.
So, Joey thinks she's doing good. She goes backstage and she overhears Hannah and another girl like bad mouthing her, like talking about her family's sordid history. Um, and she feels bad and she feels like she's like a joke for even participating in this contest. To which like Dawson overhears some of this bad mouthing and or gossip and tries to like help her out and says like they're only saying those things because they're intimidated. Like they think you can actually win.
Yeah, and they're saying all the like, this is the return of the phrase, and their illegitimate baby by a black boyfriend. It was like, I think one of the things that was interesting was that one of the girls was essentially saying that Joey goes around telling her sob story, and it doesn't seem like that's what Joey does, and she didn't say it on stage.
She kinda turns around from that moment by, she has to answer her pageant question about, like, what would you tell the youth as advice or something, and she talks about how, like, you'll come across small minds and that, like, people will always think they're better than you, and it's more important that you have, like, character and integrity, um, and not sell out and not try to just appease people, like.
Yeah, it incorporated pieces of what Dawson had said to her.
And once again, she's kind of having this speech to, like, a room full of people that apparently are part of this yacht club. Don't sell out. Be your true self. People will think they're better than you.
Which is strange. Yeah, but they seem fine with it.
Yeah.
She doesn't get met with crickets or anything.
Then they start to announce the winner of the contest, and we find out that Hannah came in third,
Hmm.
Joey came in second, and an awkward, nice seeming girl came in first.
Yeah, she was a girl who was going to Juilliard, but first she was going to be in the Peace Corps, so she was like a legitimately impressive person. Not
Yeah,
terribly charming and confident, but like had a great resume.
I like that. Like the person we're rooting for and the person we hate, neither of them won. It's just some other girl. Joey, I don't know. She seems okay with the fact she got second. I mean, she's like, that's not why I came here, but okay.
Hmm.
And Gail tells Joey that she's really proud of her. She leaves Joey and Dawson by themselves to discuss the evening, I guess. And
Hmm.
Dawson's like being kind of like dorky and weird around Joey.
Like he's seeing her for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he says that, right? It's something like that, and he's just, like, doesn't know how to talk to her.
And starts kind of in this roundabout way tells her that like he's seeing this new side, he's seeing her in a new light, and like clearly
Mm.
heading in the direction of like, I want to kiss you.
Yeah, and while that's going on, like, there's a brief shot of Jen catching, like, them being close together and all this stuff, and she's assuming the worst, and so she, like, kinda storms off.
Mhm. She's like, oh no.
Yeah, when Dawson's like, "Oh, I feel like I've seen you, like, in a new light," or whatever he says,
Hmm.
Joey kinda gets upset by this. She's like, kinda like, "This is what it took to make you see me this way, and, like, this isn't who I am, this isn't who I wanna be,
Yeah.
but it seems like this is what you've needed all along, and that really bums me out."
Yeah, what I wrote down is that everyone is being dumb. Because on the one hand, Joey is right, like she absolutely has a point of like, okay, you're finally seeing me in this light now that I'm like dressed up, performing as something that I'm not. You are reacting to something that I just am not in my everyday life. On the other hand, I want to shake Joey and be like, give it a chance before you shut it down. It also just feels like total self sabotage of just like, I might get what I want, so I have to destroy it.
Mhm.
And also, Dawson's being dumb because, like, listen to her, and like, there was a way, I think if he had acknowledged, like, okay, I see where you're coming from. I think he could have salvaged it if he was just like, okay, no, that's a legitimate reaction to feel like you want to be appreciated for more than like this big production. And it was just so it was a mix of Jen being defensive and self-sabotaging and Dawson just being dumb, and Jen keeps saying how tall she is and I'm like, girl, you're not that tall.
You mean Joey, but we know what you're
Joey.
saying.
Yeah, and Joey keeps saying how she's like and I'm just that too tall girl. I'm like, girl, you're not that tall. Everyone's being dumb, and Joey's not that tall.
Yeah, and this is a weird situation where, like, in rom-coms, like, I mean, even, Not Another Teen Movie makes fun of it of like, "Oh, once the girl puts her hair down and takes her glasses off, then she's beautiful and everyone likes her and she finally gets the boy she wants." But in this situation, Joey's like, "Uh-uh."
Yeah. And she like takes her hair down and like and I was like, "Yes, you look basically the same." I was so torn because I was like, "This is so asinine and dumb, and everyone's getting in their own way." But on the other hand, like there's a kernel of truth. There's a kernel of truth that like it would be infuriating that Dawson like is finally able to see her in this light only when she is in this big production making her into something else. But at the same time, it's like you're also just clearly shooting yourself in the foot and like stopping this before it starts because you're scared, Jen. I mean, Joey.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This actually kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you had friends that would do this to you because we both were not makeup girlies when we were young.
Mm.
Um, but like, I had like 2 or 3 times I had like girlfriends of mine like do put makeup on me like
Hmm.
I'm a doll. Um, and I remember one time in college, this like freshman year, I was in a dorm with some of my friends, and they were putting makeup on me. And then some of our guy friends like came into the room, and they're like, "Oh, you're actually kind of hot." And I was like, I just flipped them off. It's so interesting. Like, I mean, I've also heard the thing about men like complimenting women about how natural beauty they have, and women are like, "No, I have a full face of makeup on."
Yeah, it is. No, I see your reaction makes sense to me because I've also been in that context of it's if you're not in the habit of like doing like a full face of makeup and like doing yourself up, it's kind of this double-edged sword when someone does it on you or you do the full thing because like on the one hand it can be nice to receive the positive attention, but it's also this feeling of like, so you like this big production, but like just me being myself all the time, that's not noteworthy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't win either way because, like, just speaking on experiences I've seen and had, I had like a friend in high school. She always came in with a full face of makeup every day. And then,
Hmm.
like, one day she came in, she was really sick, she wasn't feeling it, so she wore no makeup. And everyone's like, "Are you okay?" Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so then it becomes expected. And I'm like, either way, you don't win. So I'd rather put the bar on the floor. And then the occasional times I try to look good, people are impressed.
Yeah, I'm also yeah, I also am reticent to like I don't want to get in a situation where me just like showing up barefaced is like a disappointment. That feels shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really win either way, but whatever you prefer, whatever poison is less bad for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after Dawson and Joey, well, Joey tells off Dawson a bit. Um, Pacey runs into Hannah kind of sulking by herself. By the way, these conversations are taking place on a dock, just one by the yacht club. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you can't have a serious conversation if there's not water directly underneath you.
yeah, you can't have a serious conversation at like a gas station. So Hannah's like, sulking about being a loser, and Pacey comes up and she's like, "Oh, I know what you're gonna say," and he's like, "Oh, I have lots of experience of being a loser, so I could help you out."
Yeah.
And this is when Hannah kind of like softens up and reveals that in her family she's the loser. She's like, "I have siblings who are doctors, and I don't know what else it was, curing cancer, who knows."
Yeah, and it's just like she named off of like my brother's doing this and my sister's doing this and I can't even win this podunk pageant.
To which Pacey's like, "Well, at least you have money."
Yeah.
And they're kind of bonding over being black sheep. Hannah does end up complimenting him on like having the courage to do the pageant, and yeah, she reveals like, "Oh, I'm not much better off. Like my parents aren't even here right now. I'm hardly ever home, and when I am, my parents are not home." And you know,
Yeah.
rich people sometimes have hard lives too.
They do. They have rich people do have problems.
They're not as dire.
Money does solve problems, and money can make your life happier. It can.
Mhm.
It will
Yeah.
not solve all your problems. It solves a lot of problems.
So, next, Dawson is sitting on his stoop in front of his porch at his house. Jen comes over, sits next to him, kind of just asks for him back.
Basically, yeah, he's kind of just like sitting on his own stoop, just like staring. And then Jen walks up and is like, "Hey, wanna try again?" And it honestly wasn't much more eloquent than that.
No, and then his response wasn't very eloquent either. He was just kind of like, "Huh?
He was like, "Wait, what?"
Actually, I don't think I want to do that right now. I gotta figure out some things."
Yeah, he basically says like, "I need to not right now. I need to think about some stuff."
Yeah, the episode ends. I think this is like the second one that didn't end in Dawson's bedroom. Where Dawson's sitting on his stoop just thinking. It switches between him doing that and Joey like kind of getting ready for bed or something, and she's like brushing her hair and she's kind of feeling herself. She's like kind of looking in
Yeah.
the mirror and being like, maybe I am beautiful.
I mean, it is when you get done up. It like I hate the process of trying to do it, but like once you get done up, it's nice to be like, "Oh, that's nice." It's nice to feel yourself. Yeah.
So that's where we end. We're one episode shy from the end of the season.
I think I liked this episode more than I've liked a couple of the previous ones.
Yeah, I mean, people were still being dumb, but I felt like more of the choices were grounded than previous episodes.
I guess it felt a little less contrived. Is like even the choices I was frustrated with, like Dawson and Joey like arguing about like getting together, I was like, this is annoying and you're both being dumb, but I also see how you both got here. It did beg the question. There did kept being like Gail at the thing, Mitch shows up for a cup of coffee, and I'm just like, are we gonna get an update on what's going on with them? Because that was something I was looking for during the pageant. I was like, oh, Mitch is not there.
Yeah. It's gonna come around again, but yeah, they're kind of taking their time.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Some relationships do explode immediately, and sometimes they drag out a while and they either figure it out or they don't. And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm really interested to see more of Pacey's family because they've been just dropping so many breadcrumbs and hints and stuff that I'm almost nervous. I feel like actually seeing it will be underwhelming almost.
We'll see what happens when you finally do get to like meet those parents.
Yeah.
Well, whose creek is it this episode?
Whose creek is it? Um,
Do you want me to go?
yeah, if you have one, please go.
I mean, it is tough because honestly, none of it really sticks out to me. Like, I feel like everyone's kind of made some development in this episode. Um, but I think I would have to go with Joey because she seems to have a realization of like her worth and that she like being confident is good and that she's worthy of like being seen as beautiful and like being confident in the world, I guess. At least for the time being. Well, I don't know. Maybe not, because Jen probably is not happy with Joey right now. But they were getting along for a while.
Yeah, yeah. And Jen really has nothing to be mad about. Joey didn't like do anything underhanded.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same as you, is that there wasn't one person that like really ran away with it. I guess it's Joey's Creek but it almost feels like we've more planted a seed, or like, at least in my life, it sort of feels like I come to like quote unquote realizations or epiphanies very slowly. It's this very slow accumulation of evidence and experiences. It's like a water feature where you have a bucket and then as soon as it fills up enough it tips over. And it's like
Mm.
just dripping, dripping, dripping. And it feels like this was like, it doesn't seem like Joey is tipped over and like fully come around, but this did feel like
Mhm.
one of the last drips of like something is coming together for her. We've been watching this pot for 12 episodes and she's not quite boiling yet, but yeah, I don't feel like super confident and enthusiastic about it, but yeah, I guess it was Joey's Creek. And honestly, that's what life is like a lot of the time. A lot of times you're just like, I guess it's this.
Yeah. It's funny with other people's lives, I have epiphanies right away. I'm like, this is what's wrong and this is what you need to do. But when it's me, I'm like, I don't know. I
Yeah, or I'm like, I have an inkling, but I need so much evidence to believe myself.
I wish I had the confidence in my own life that I do in others.
Maybe if we start thinking of ourselves in the third person and try to like, man, how would I fix that person's life?
So it's Joey's Creek, or maybe it's no one's creek. Maybe it's the yacht club's creek. Who knows?
Maybe it's a public creek. Next time we're going to be doing the last episode of season 1.
Yeah.
And listeners, sorry we had to skip last week. I was out of town and just we couldn't make the schedule work. But
Thanks for hanging in there.
yeah.
Allison had to lose a hockey tournament. It was very important.
Yeah, I had to drive a long way to lose hockey games very badly in the desert.
Hey, but you had some fun.
I did have some fun.
Well, the last episode of the season is titled Decisions. Will there actually be decisions? Who's to say?
That is the wild thing about observing the world, is seeing people and going, "Wow, you made that choice. You had a decision to make and that's what you made."
All right.
Anyway,
Well,
thanks listeners. Stick with us. We'll be back soon with the next episode.
yeah. Bye bye.